years ago now. Let's look. Let's look to the Lord. Father, that's my brother-in-law. So, Father, we just give you the praise and the glory. Lord, we just welcome you this morning. Have your way in their lives. It's good just to meet with the men, share with the blokes. So, Father, we just thank you in Jesus' name. You know, I was just thinking what I can share. I like talking to blokes, no shearers, you know. But there's something when men get together, and I was just thinking that this year is a special year. This is the 100-year anniversary of the charge on Beaudesert. I don't know if you know, for those of you who are not familiar, it was the Australian light horse that broke the back of the 400 years of Muslim rule and opened the gateway to Jerusalem. That's the city that Jesus is coming back to. No, he's not coming back to New York, hello. Jerusalem. And this is the 100-year anniversary of the liberation of Jerusalem. Hundreds of Aussies are going over, a lot of my friends are going over. They're going to reenact the charge. If you remember when Netanyahu was just here recently, the Israeli Prime Minister, one of the things he said, I remember it was the Australian light horse that liberated Beaudesert. Yeah, so I was thinking about that. This is an awesome year, 100-year anniversary of that charge, 100-year anniversary of the liberation of Jerusalem. And I was thinking, you know, as we talked about, what could we learn from our Anzac forefathers? I pastored in the United States and they're justifiably proud, you know, of their heritage. And, but, you know, we don't have a lot, but we need to appreciate what we really do have. And, you know, I was thinking about, even on Anzac Day, it's coming up soon, it stops the nation. It's possibly the most important day in our calendar, maybe even more than Easter. And, you know, you can go anywhere you like in this nation. The biggest city to the smallest outback town, there'll be a pub, there'll be a police station, but I guarantee you there'll be an Anzac monument there somewhere. Even in the Aboriginal communities out there. So it stops our nation. It's something in the very psyche of our nation. And I'm a fifth-generation Aussie. My grandfather used to have a farm out here in Taylor Bend. My grandfather broke horses with a live horse. 4 of my forefathers were live horsemen. I've got a relative buried in the Beaudesert Museum there. In the cemetery. So it was part of passing it on to my sons and my grandsons. But what can we learn from those folks? You know, we're not just glorifying war. Hello, get a life. You know, it amazes me sometimes Christian things, you know, that we should stand up and defend our country. Well, if that's the case, then how come the only man that Jesus ever commended for his faith was a Roman army officer? He said to the Roman centurion, he said, I've not found faith anywhere in Israel like this man. Is that right or not? Yeah, remember, so if it's so wrong to defend your home and your nation, then Jesus should have ticked him off big time. Instead of that, he holds him up as an example. Paul talks in military terms. Salute your brothers, he says, the army of God, put on the armour of God, fight the good fight of faith. They're all military terms. And so, you know, if you ever get a chance, and my father fought on Dakota in the beginning, if you ever get a chance to go to a place where the Australians stopped at that stage, hitherto undefeated Japanese army. No, it wasn't like the Americans at Guadalcanal. Learned that facts getting away with a good story. It was actually at a place called Milne Bay, where a bunch of Aussies actually stopped. The unstoppable Japanese outnumbered them 6 and 8 to 1, never been defeated in land combat, stopped them cold. I like that. You know, so you can be, I can believe you can see the hand of God on your nation from that way back. But if you go to a place called Ishiraba on Kokoda, and it has the Anzac monument, and it has 4 words. It's all sums up in 4 words. Courage, mateship, sacrifice, endurance. All of those are biblical principles. And every one of those things Jesus exhibited on the cross. Courage. It's amazing today, you know, I think we don't even understand English. Courage doesn't mean lack of fear. If you've never been scared, you've either had a lobotomy or you're a liar. Everybody's experienced gun wrenching. I lost my house in Cyclone Tracy in 1974. Middle of the night, the roof's blown away. Hello. Grabbed our kids and run across the neighbour's brick house. That was completely destroyed. My neighbours were killed. I thought we were going to die. My wife's got more fags. She's sure we're coming out. I'm sure we're going to die. You know, I never forget, you know, next day I would have kissed the tarmac ground because we were alive. Anybody know? I feel like I've never experienced in my life before. If you've never had fear, I think you're a liar or you've had a bottom. So courage is not the absence of fear, it's just suck it up and tough it out and do it even if you've got to do it tough. Even if you've got to, is that right? Just do it. Anyway, so courage. Well, I just want to talk to you about today about nature. You know, it's a biblical principle, but it's also the code of my force. First World War, motto was, you never left a mate. I love that. Never left a mate. You know, if I can be brutally frank, I don't think we understand the term anymore. I don't think we understand the term mateship. You know, Jesus says in John 15:13, greater love has no man than this, that he lay down his life for his friends. Not just inconvenience himself. Can I have an amen or what? It means lay down your life. Is that right? Sacrifice them. These men lay their lives down for each other. I remember interviewing one old live horseman before he died. He said, I saw my best friend shut up his horse. He said, against direct orders, I wheeled my horse around, I'm galloping back. Bullets are going over my head, he says, and I'm looking through the smoke and the haze, and I see someone laying on the ground. I grabbed him by the belt, swung him up behind me and galloped out. He said, when the dust settled, he said, I realised I picked up a turf by mistake. You have a friend like that? You know, I'm not being smart. If I can, you know, after nearly 40 years in ministry, you have got to learn something. You'd be a moron if you did that. But I can tell you this, you'll have very few friends in life. Many, many acquaintances. But if you have more than 5 close friends, you're doing good. Most people don't even have what they would call 5 close friends. But that's a biblical principle. Even God had friends. Abraham was called the friend of God. Jesus said, is that what he said? I call you friends. So friends is even a biblical pattern. I love that. If you remember Paul, the great apostle Paul, and he writes and he says this, everyone has left me, everyone has deserted me. But he says, but Onesiphorus, who the heck is Onesiphorus? Now your name may be in the Lamb's Book of Life, it ain't in the Bible. Onesiphorus' name's in the Bible. You get to heaven, what did you do? How come your name's in the Bible? What did you do? Best preacher, biggest church, sing tap dance, what did you do? I was a friend to Paul. Paul writes, he says, that he would often, he said he would come by ship all the way from Ephesus to Rome. Visit him in jail. In those days, the Romans could put you in jail as well. He said he sought me out and often refreshed me. The other bloke is Epaphroditus. Great name, why can't be Fred and Jack? I don't know. Epaphroditus, he says, he also was a friend to me. He says, hold such men in high esteem. So, you know, what can we learn from our Anzac forefathers in an age of total selfishness? I feel that's going to come now. We live in an age, the Bible says in the last days, what will be the predominant sign of the last days? No, not 666 in the lawn, the stormtroopers are coming. The predominant sign, men will be lovers of themselves. We live in an age, we're in love with our mirrors. If anybody else fell in love with us, we get jealous. Is that too deep? We have a thing called selfies. I love that, right? The average person today, young person, takes 45 minutes of selfies a week according to Time magazine. That's 7 minutes a day of total narcissism. Don't you even know what you look like yet? Remember when we actually used to take photos of other people? Now you got a photo of the Eiffel Tower, but my big forehead's in it as well. We live in an age, is that right or not, of total selfishness. And that's why I really believe there's such a huge breakdown in homes and families. And my son's a detective, most highly decorated police officer in Northern Territory right now. Just did some courses with the FBI, and he said, you know what, Dad, they told us our drug addiction rate is higher than our national road toll. Our suicide rate, is higher than our national road toll. There's something seriously wrong in a nation that lives in affluence and peace, and young people want to take their own lives. He said the whole thing can be traced back to the breakdown of the family. See, the family is the very nucleus, the basis of our society. If you want to destroy a nation, take the families out. If you want to take the families out, take the fathers out first, and watch a nation begin to disintegrate. And so that's the age that we live in. So mateship is a biblical principle to go. And as I say, it's totally misunderstood. It's been hijacked by the media, by the politicians. Doesn't mean anything anymore. But to these men, it meant something. As I say, it was the code of the love was you never left. I love that. You never left. You know, I did this book here. I got some books. I'm probably going to buy some afterwards. But I did this book here on this Anzac chaplain. What an awesome bloke, Fighting McKenzie. He's a guy, a Scotsman from Bundaberg. Most of the guys are 16, 17 when they ship out. He's in his mid-40s. Ships out as a chaplain. And he lands in Gallipoli in his mid-40s, 4 years in frontline combat. If you remember the story of Lone Pine, we lost 2,500 young men in one day. 7 Victoria Crosses in a day. It's never been achieved before or again. And the first 2 waves have gone over and they've been shot down. And so the young men ran their bayonets into the side of the trenches. They know they're going to die. They hang their crosses, their photographs, letters to loved ones. And Mackenzie's in the front line trenches. He's a Salvation Army chaplain. I got his diaries from the Salvation Army. And the commanding officer comes up and says, "Chaplain, you're not even supposed to be in the front lines. Get out." Mackenzie, 6'5", stands up, and I love it. He says, "Sir, I'm not a rebellious person, but sometimes you've got to answer to a higher authority than I follow a bloke like that. I follow a bloke like that." And he says, "You and I both know these young men are going to die. What sort of a man, what sort of a friend would I be?" He said, "If I let them die on their own." He says, "I've lived with you, I've eaten with you, I've even prayed with you. And when the whistle blows, I'm not afraid to die with you. And when the whistle blows and you go over, he stopped you right alongside of you." What would that mean to a 16-year-old kid that's never been off a farm in his life? The whistle blows, they go over, 700 is shot down, Mackenzie gets strapped on the side of the head, and he lives to survive within the military cross, should have been Victoria Cross. Summoned to Buckingham Palace by King George himself. And King George sees him, brushes through the generals, and he says, "Chaplain, your fame precedes you." He says, "You were a friend to these young men. Greater love is no man than this, that he laid down his life for his friends." My wife, probably the most honest person I've ever met in my life, comes from a German background, and any straight, give me a rule. But you know what? A couple of years ago, one of her closest friends dying of cancer. So she goes to visit her in hospital. She rang me up and she's crying. She said, "Honey, my friend's dying and she's dying on her own." She said, "No one should have to die on their own." She said, "I asked the doctor, will you wheel another bed into the water, and I'll stay here, I'll eat here, I'll sleep here until my friend dies, because if she dies, I don't want to die on my own." She rings me at 3 o'clock in the morning and she's crying. She said, she said, "There's something wrong with this generation." She said, her own daughter rang up and said, "Why don't you just hurry up and die so I can get on with my life?" I'm not making it up. You've got to make up stories. I believe she'll regret that later on. But my wife's crying. She said, "You know what?" She's telling me. So I'm just sitting here holding my friend's hand as she goes off to heaven. It shouldn't be like that. No one should have to die. Is that right or not? So it's just talking about nature, laying down your life. I believe your greatest mate, of course, should be the Lord, but after that should be your spouse. And your wife. So we're talking about biblical principles, even if you know the story of David and Jonathan. Jonathan's the heir to the throne, the next king. David stinks a sheep did. I mean, was that right or not? He's from the bush. But they become lifelong friends, lifelong friends. The Bible talks about their hearts were knit together when they first met. And later on you'll find that Jonathan's killed in combat. And David becomes king and he says, "Is there anyone left at the household of Saul that I might show some kindness?" And they said, "Well, there's one boy." Is that right? Jonathan's son is Shibboleth. I love these names. Anyway, is that right? And he says, "But he doesn't like you, he blames you. He's crippled, he blames you." And David says, "You bring him into me." You remember the story? When he comes in, he says, "I'll restore your fortunes." He says, "Your land, and you put your feet under my table and eat here for the rest of your life, not because of who you are, but because of my love for your father." So even nature goes beyond the grave. Even can go beyond the grave. When I was pastoring in Darwin, in the early days, it was a pretty wild sort of place. You know, before that we owned a gun shop, fishing tackle shop, not the exact normal for the ministry. Hello. Hey, it's okay, I love animals, they taste great. I'm kidding, I'm kidding. Having a hot your tree today, I feel love coming out. But anyway, and so my associate, who was my best friend at the time, leads this young lady to the Lord. She's living in a de facto relationship, goes up and tells her boyfriend. The boyfriend belts her up and puts her in hospital. And then rings up and threatens she's going to kill us. Saturday morning, I'll never forget, I get a phone call, he's on the way to shoot me. I'm thinking, "Dude, who am I going to ring? Who am I going to ring? Now, if you've got a religious spirit, it's about to manifest." I thought if I ring some spiritual airhead that tells me he's going to pray for me over the phone, I'm going to throw up. Thank you for your enthusiasm. Now, I'm not against prayer, but a lot of times we're just moral cowards. We'll pray for you, but we won't back you up. I thought, "Am I going to ring?" I ring my best friend. I said, Don, the bloke's on the way to shoot me. The phone goes dead. This is great. The phone's dead. 15 minutes later, I hear a four-wheel drive coming down the Stewart Highway. Four-wheel drift into my driveway. Door slammed. You know, bloke runs up the stairs and he comes in and he says, "Where's the bloke?" We're lifelong friends. Anybody know what I'm talking about? I know for a fact if I needed him, I'd just ring up and say, crisis, we'll be on a plane with him. Do you have a friend like that? I'm not being smart, but do you have a friend like that? If you don't have a friend, maybe you need to be a friend like that. I saw the great Bishop T.D. Jakes, front cover of Time magazine, interviewed by Brian Houston from Hillsong. He said, Bishop, what would you like to be remembered for? Biggest church, greatest preacher, front cover of Time. He said, Brian, I'd like to be remembered as a loyal friend. In an age of relationship deficits, we don't even know what it is. Can I say it again? You will have many, many acquaintances in your life, but very few true friends. If you have more than 5 friends, you do it all right. I'm talking real friends. Some years ago, when the pastor, he will know, the Baptist, we had a man from my church, I don't know what I'm talking about, from my church, go out and rape 2 girls and murder them. From my church. After he killed these girls brutally, he came and sat on Sunday in my church. I don't know what's going on. I knew something's wrong, but I didn't know what's going on. My wife picked it up real quick. And later on, he confessed to my associate pastor, went to jail. He's still in jail to this day, All hell broke loose. I think we lost my church. All of a sudden, it was put around that he was my youth pastor, my music director. Don't let facts get in the way of the story. I was mad. I was just really mad. And Jim the Baptist, not John the Baptist, Jim the Baptist rang me up. And Jim the Baptist said, I'm going to come around and pick you up. I said, don't bother, Stan. He rang me back and said, don't hang up on me. You need a friend. I'm going to be that friend. He took me out for a cup of coffee. Hey, listen to me, Jim the Baptist doesn't even believe in baptism and the Holy Spirit. We don't even agree doctrinally. He sat down and he said, we may not agree doctrinally, but you're a man of God and you need a friend and I'm going to be that friend. And he said to me, if you need money, my church will supply the money. He said, if you're going to make a statement in the Darwin Press, you put my name, my church, and I'll back you to the limit. Pete the Pentecostal wants to kick me in the head, and Jim the Baptist wants to be mine. I've never forgotten that. And later on, he got himself into some financial trouble. I went to my board and I said, I want a cheque for $5 grand. Well, in those days, 20, 30 years ago, it was a lot of money. They said, well, you're heading for Hawaii or something. I said, no. Jim the Baptist got himself in some strife. We're going to get him out. They said, we've got our own building in front. I said, listen to me. He was the only one that stood alongside me in that crisis. I don't remember you coming and standing up alongside me. I said, if you don't give, I'll get the money. They wrote me the cheque, and I'll never forget it. Went and knocked on the door. The associate pastor came out, didn't like Pentecostals, wouldn't have me on his finger for a walk. He said, what do you want? I said, money. He said, brother. These men all languages. I said, where's Jim the Baptist? He said, in the office. I said, you get it. I'll never forget the day. I flipped the cheque over and said, Jim, that'll get you out. He started to cry. He said, my own church. I said, hey, mate, stick together. Anybody know what I'm talking about? You're the only one that supported me in that time. That probably the deepest crisis of my life. I never forgot it. Mateship. You know, we're talking about a thing that, as I say, you shouldn't even really have to talk about it. But anyway, so the more that I think about this, look, I don't know if you, but a few months or a few years ago, you might have seen a story, 60 Minutes, when Ray Martin was still doing it. And it's about 2 Vietnam vets, so it's my caller. And Bill Coolbar, a jet black Aboriginal from Palm Island, and Snowy Wilson, an Ocker Aussie from Melbourne. And they've been lifelong friends. They served in Vietnam, they've gone down the trenches, they were sappers, they lived together, they ate together, they worked, and they've been lifelong friends. And later on, Bill Coolbar develops diabetes and needs a kidney transplant. So Snowy Wilson rings up and he says, you're my mate, you take anybody else's kidney but mine, you get a bunch of fired up to Hooter. And so, I don't know if anyone saw the program, that they're laying side by side in the operating theatre, and Ray Martin says, you guys have got something unique. The surgeon pulled his mask off and he says, with all of my money, I don't have a friend that the drop of a hat would give me a kidney. He says, he's my mate, it's my kidney, I'll do whatever I like. I didn't like that offer, the surgeon says, well, what about if it doesn't, the kidney transplant doesn't pay? He says, well, I've only got one other one, don't love him enough to give him that one. And I like, I just love the humour of the old Ocker Aussie. I had a chance to meet some, interview some, I wish you could have been on, because just awesome blokes. And one of I said, you know why I made the charge on Vera Sheep? I said, no. He said, somebody knocked the sheep off the sun, I just saw the They've been shot up, they've lost their uniforms and their hats, just got shorts, and they're limping down the Gaza where Samson carried the city gates. They're limping down for a bit of a swim or a surf, and this pompous British MP steps up and says, No shorts allowed on the beach. I said, well, I just dropped their shorts, get walking. That's my grandfather doing that. I just laughed at you know, one guy that got a medal, he says, you know what really happened? He said, my horse got water. My horse hadn't had water for 70 hours. He said, it just took off. I just hung on, fired a couple of shots, got a medal. Hang on. Well, I could see the ears of my horse, that's all I could see. I just love that. So what can we learn from Marines? We can learn something about courage, we can learn something about nature. As I say, in an age of relationship deficit, we live in selfish days, self-centered days. You know, Second World War, some of you might remember, a guy called Weary Dunlop. I read his book. He's talking about, he was a doctor in a prisoner of war camp. He's talking about how the Australians survived it twice over the Americans, the English and the Dutch. Now before you think that's all to do with physical, it's nothing to do with this. He's talking about nature. He said, I'm walking down a prison ward in a prison hospital, and he said, here's a Dutchman dying, but he's dying on his own. Here's an American dying, very, but he's dying on his own. Here's an Aussie dying of malaria, but he's got 5 of his mates washing him down. Stealing egg or a chook and saying, come on, Cobby, you owe me £5, you can't die yet. And this old bloke on the ABC, I'll never forget, was talking about Weary Dunlop. He said, I'm alive because my friends wouldn't die. He said, I told him, I don't want to live, I'm in too much pain. Just let me die. They said, we came in together, we go out. You have a friend like that? I'm not trying to be critical, I'm just observing. But do you have a friend? As our society begins to break down, as I say, if we want to destroy society, just destroy the families. And destroy the families, take the dads out first. You know, praise God for single mums. We're talking to somebody. Single mums deserve a medal, but no woman can impart masculinity to her son. She can only impart femininity. Is that right or not? And so we've got a whole generation of women. Wimpy blokes. Robin, thank you for your enthusiasm. I'm not being smart. If you think about it, 60 to 70% of our young men come from single homes. They go to schools where 90% of the teachers are females. So when do they ever have any positive masculinity if they don't get it from the church and from the men, the fathers, the grandfathers? I believe it's important. You know, the Jews, if you've ever seen to go to Melbourne, watch what happens when the Sabbath and the sun begins to set. The fathers take their sons to serve. Not the mums, the dads. They pass it on from generation to generation. We were flying back to Austria some time ago, going back to see where my wife's father had come from. We landed in Charles de Gaulle Airport, Paris, France. I'll never forget it. You know, 24-hour flight, the lights on, but nobody's home. I'm not a good flyer, but arms like orangutans from carrying my wife's bags. Pulled out the sockets, hello. And I'm standing in the airport minding my own business, and the LAL flight touches down, and 100 Orthodox Jews step out. Black hats, black women, black beards, black gods. You don't need a word of knowledge. I wonder if these are Irish tourists. They're Orthodox Jews. I'm minding my own business. I'm standing there and I just hear the voice of God said, son, they have not lost or sold their heritage in 2,000 years without a country. Shat, is that right? To the four corners of the earth. They've never lost their heritage. They may be Russian, but they still don't identify as Russian Jews. Americans still speak the language. And I thought, you know, I just heard the voice of God said, you know why? And I said, well, no, but I think you're going to tell me. Got to be Psalm 78. The fathers teach their sons. Pass it on from generation to generation to generation. It's never lost. By contrast, us Aussies, we lose our generation. We lose it without even leaving the country. American television, everything's American. I'm not anti-American, but I just don't want to be one. Can I have that? Yeah. I believe we're the greatest country in the world. Honestly, I might be a nut, but I'm a happy nut. Hello? I believe we live in the greatest country in the world. We just don't even know. But we're fast losing it. Our whole society's beginning to break down. And I honestly believe it's a blind spot. I'm not just blaming the blokes. Hello? You know, we need each other. We need to support each other. But I was reading also in Timothy, it says, you know, if a man doesn't provide for his family, it's worse than him to do. I had a couple of young pastors that I was the associate pastor to, great blokes, they could speak and sing and tap dance, and I said, will you provide for your family? Didn't want to hear that. One used to go to Indonesia, have great meetings, hundreds of people come back, and I said, Now when you're finished, if you get your head through the door, like you finish with your ego trip, I need to talk to you. I said, you know, everybody thinks it's God. I said, but you're just totally self-centered. You just go off and do what you... I said, you don't even provide for your family. I said, if it wasn't for my church, your family would be starving. Your wife's in my office crying her eyes out because you don't have any money. I said, if you don't stop what you're doing and get a job, you're going to lose your family. He said, you're just jealous because I can preach better than you. The spirit slapped me and I'll slap that kid. Hello? I said, I know it's a foreign concept, but I'm actually trying to be a father and a friend to you. I said, I'll tell you now, if you don't stop what you're doing, you're going to lose your family. The last time I saw him, I dragged him by the neck from the Darwin Casino. They're no longer married, they're no longer in ministry. His wife sat in my office and cried and cried. She said, married to a big boy. He looks good, but knows nothing about responsibility. Paul says to Timothy, if you don't provide for your family, you're worse than an unbeliever. The word provide, yes, it means food on the table, clothes on the back, but it's a lot more than that. It means to actively depend. Lay down your life for your family. Your wife is special to your best friend after the Lord. You know, my mum and dad were married to each other for 72 years. 72 years. My dad was a professional kangaroo shooter for most of that. Hello? We would have skipped you away until that. But I learned more about nature. I learned more about family from my mum and dad than I did from each other. This is what I mean. Not what you learn behind the dummy door. Hello, but this is what it's all about to me. You take care of your friends. You invest in your friends. Anybody know what I'm talking about? You know, I remember my dad really didn't booze that much, but every Anzac Day, he would go to the Muck White to catch up with his friends. Right up until 95 years of age, still catch up with his friends. You have a friend like that. If they needed money, they'd share money together. If somebody was sick, they'd go and visit. If they needed just work on their house, they would just do it. They weren't even Christians. They knew about nature. Sadly, I'm not picking on the blokes, but I don't think we even know what the term nature means. I think it's just a cute cliche. These men lay down their lives. I want to show you a little DVD because this is a visual generation. I go into schools all the time. If you go into schools, it better be visual. Everything's visual. My wife does RE, you know, religious education in the schools. She loves the kids. She doesn't booze. She comes home and says, I need a stiff whiskey quick before I kill somebody. I remember one little kid comes up with Catholic kids come up and says, I'm a Catholic, like, could you possibly teach me about God? Jen said, well, manners might be a good start. Anyway, so we have a look at the big that's what. So, this is from Ancient Light Horseman, the desert poem, in Idris, for those that might not know who he was. There's no doubt we're a real lot, a scatterbrained laughing lot, but last night our whole crowd were trying to sing comic songs. They made the Oasis hideous with the chorus of the most idiotic songs I've ever heard. But the dearest memory, the one that will live with me until the day I die, is the comradeship of my mates. These men who laugh so harshly at their own hardships and sufferings, but whose smile is so tenderly sympathetic to another's pain. He goes on to write that no wounded men should ever be permitted to fall into enemy hands. To a singular degree, this noble pledge was observed. After 2.5 years of constant fighting, only 73 light horsemen had been taken prisoners by the same 40,000 to 50,000 Turks had been captured. You never leave a mate. Father, we just give you the praise and we give you the glory. I thank you just for the opportunity, the privilege that has been just to share with these men. And Father, we've been living the last of the final days, I believe, before your return. Father, I believe what we desperately need is to lay down our lives for each other. That we be true friends. That we might learn from our Anzac forefathers the true meaning of nature. And greater love is no man than this. We lay down his life for his friends. While your heads are bowed, nobody looking around just for a moment, I'll hand back to the pastor. Is there anybody here this morning that you've never accepted Jesus as your Lord? Not asking you to join a church, I'm just asking you to commit your life to pass from the kingdom of darkness to the kingdom of light. Nobody's looking around, it's nobody else's business, just between you and God, that's all. Is there anybody just slip your hand up? I'll pray for you later, I'll just pray for you. But just slip your hand up to see what I'd like to do. I'd like to accept Jesus as my Lord. I won't drag you down the front, I won't embarrass anybody. I While he's looking around, just looking around. There might be a friend there. Anyone at all? Just looking. Pray for you. So one hand, while he's looking around. Just see one hand. Just for a couple of minutes. It might be a little bit painful. Hey, Jesus hung on the cross for you. Is there anyone else? Put your hand up. Pray for you as well. And can I get you to stand up? Come on, everybody stand up. Would you do that? When it's your turn, I want us to do it your way. Right? Would you just close your eyes and everybody say this with me? Say, I believe.
I believe.
Don't convince me. Say, I believe.
I believe.
That Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ
is the Son of God.
is the Son of God.
I believe that He died.
I believe that He
Rose again.
rose again.
He's seated at the right hand of the Father.
Seated at the right hand of the
I
Father.
ask you now.
I ask you now,
Jesus,
Jesus,
come into my life.
come into
Be
my life.
my Lord.
Be my Lord.
Be my Savior.
Be my Savior.
Be my best friend.
Be my best friend.
And I believe.
I believe.
Based on your word,
Based on your word,
because you never lie.
because you never lie.
Won't you come into my heart right now?
Come into my heart right now.
Cause me to be a born again believer.
Cause me to be born again.
A brand new creation.
Brand new creation.
Thank you, Jesus.
Thank you, Jesus.
Be my Lord.
My Lord.
My Savior.
My Savior.
Be my best friend.
My best friend.
And let's give the Lord a clap off. Can we do that? If we can help you or pray for you or just talk to you afterwards, say, I don't know anything, I'm unprofessional of it. But you know, I remember when I left it, I was an idiot. I was just an idiot. You know, and I'll tell you, I'm not saying I'm a wonderful spiritual giant right now, but you know, only God, just the grace of God. I believe honestly I'd be dead if it wasn't for the grace of God. I remember before we left here, I was hitting the booze, a little heavy. I owned a fishing tackle gun shop, which is Tom's down here now. And I had a warped sense of humour, not a good combination. And one night my wife made me really angry and I loaded a handgun with mates. I came home and banged on the door and she said, what do you want? I pulled my stomach and I killed you and I fired a shot. Well, even the flame coming out, this scared her, she's waiting to die. I made the mistake of laughing, so she punched me right in the face and rolled me down the stairs. Now we teach marriage counselling. I just marvel at the grace of God that He can take. Like Paul says, man, I was just an idiot, the least of the least. But God can take you, change your life and do something. So hey, pick the heart of blokes. It's good to be back. Some of you I know, some of you I don't know. It's a great place to live. This is the greatest country in the world. Undoubtedly the greatest country in the world. But I believe it's time for the blokes to stand up, speak up, refuse to shut up. Amen.
Thanks, Pastor Cole. Just take a seat for a moment. We're just about to finish off. What a great word of encouragement. You know, there's so much to learn from our ancestors, and not all of us here are third or fourth generation Aussies. But I believe what Pastor Cole said, this is the greatest nation on planet Earth. We've got so much favour, so much resource, so much blessing in front of us. And we need to take hold of it before it's all sold out or given away or taken over. And I really believe we're in those days where we need to stand up. Even as Christians, stand up for what we believe in, stand up for what is worth standing up for. And so mornings like this are great. I'm really so thrilled to see so many men from so many different backgrounds and so many different church groups just come along and support what we're doing. It's not about us, it's about kingdom building. I really believe 2017 is going to be a year of kingdom building. You know, it's interesting that if we had a word over our church, this would be a year of growth. I hear other churches, not just in this community, but across the nation, talking about a year of growth, a year of increase, a year of God's favour, and I really believe that we're in that in 2017. So again, I want to thank you all for coming out this morning. I'm going to give our plug for our Sunday morning service tomorrow. For those of you who don't go to church or don't go to church on a Sunday morning, Pastor Cole will be preaching at Gospel Centre tomorrow morning. Don't stop going to your own church to come. I value my relationship with my other fellow pastors across the community. I do value them. And I know they value what we have. We work together, and I'm really, really proud of that in the right way. But if you're not going to church tomorrow, you're not part of the local church, Pastor Cole's preaching at 9:45. What time?
9:45.
Why do we do that? We should start at 10. You're going to get people to come at 2:15. So we start at 1:45, and by 10 o'clock, most people are there. But again, thank you. Cole's got some product for sale up here. If you want to have a look at his books and purchase some of the stuff he's got, they're great resources. I buy copies of Cole's books, and I give them to my father-in-law. He's an avid reader. He just pores over your books. And then he brings up his brother who lives up in Galway and says, I've got some more of Cole's books. And he sends them on. I said, why don't you buy more books and send them to your brother rather than me buy them? You read them and then pass them on. But if you want to have a look, they're here. If you need prayer for anything, Cole's here to pray with you and for you. And if you want to ask any questions, we'll see something. Thanks again, guys. Have an awesome Saturday. Have an amazing long weekend. Don't forget, Monday is a public holiday. Don't bring me.